welcome you. Come on in. Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in. We welcome you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. We welcome you.
Come on in. We welcome.
We welcome. We welcome you. Come on in.
All right, welcome.
Thank you. So I think you all know this song too, Reveal. The revealing experience. Reveal. Thank you. The love inside of me. Reveal, real love that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. Let's sing peace. Reveal, reveal the peace inside of me. Reveal the peace that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, peace is what I see. Reveal the peace in me. Joy. Reveal, reveal the joy inside of me. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me. Reveal, reveal the love inside of me. Reveal the love that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, love is what I see. Reveal the love in me. Reveal, reveal the peace inside of me. Reveal the peace that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, this is what I see. Reveal the peace in me. Reveal, reveal the joy inside of me. Reveal the joy that I was meant to be. Every time I open up, joy is what I see. Reveal the joy in me.
Good evening. I'm Jan Hartman, and I'm a practitioner here at Seaside. And at this time, I invite you to find your stillness. Find that deep joy, peace, and reveal that is inside you, that is spirit, that is full, that is rich, and that is here to be filled, to be joy, to be love, and to be all that God has brought and blessed, for God is all there is. And moving into that, know that this evening is perfect. This evening is blessed. It is the good of God. It is the good of God's life and the good of your life now. And so this divine appointment with the beloved is perfect. It is a blessing and an honor for all that create this space here this evening. And with my heart open and full and rich, with the love of God and the love of this offering, I simply allow it to be and begin this evening, and so it is. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Jim. Lovely music. Thank you for all you give. Our monthly theme for this month is We Are Who We Are. And the book for the month that Reverend Sunshine has chosen for this month to read from is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. And Reverend Sunshine's talk this evening is titled Imperfections, the Gift. And so I'm going to read a small piece for you from Ernest Holmes from this thing called You. Because as we walk into looking at the love and the joy and the gift of imperfection, it's really important for us to know who we are. You are a living being by virtue of the fact that through some process which no one knows, needs to know, or can know, life is incarnated in you, operating through you this moment. This is the gift of life. This is the forever begotten. This is the forever life that is yours. But you are also an individual, like all other individuals, gradually awakening to the greater possibility. If life made you out of itself, which it most certainly did, and if you are an individual, just a little different from all the individuals who ever lived, then life not only created you as an independent being, it also implanted a unique something within you, and it will never be duplicated. The spirit that accompanies you through your life is just a little different from the spirit of any other person. Not different in that it is isolated, because all are rooted in one being, but different in that it is individual. Suppose you were to think of it this way. There is a spirit in me, and this spirit is God. Whether or not I understand it, there is a real myself which forever exists in pure spirit. I had nothing to do with this. I merely awoke and discovered it. I did not give it to myself, and I cannot withdraw myself from it. I can only accept it and honor it. Since you are an individual, you can either accept or reject your own spirit. Of course, no one can take it away from you. Somewhere along the line, you will be compelled to accept it. However, you can procrastinate, you can divert, you can sidestep or delay this divine event. If you knew beyond question that this is true, your greatest search would be after your own spirit. Well, you do know this. Every desire you have for betterment in life is some echo from that deep within which forever complains, which forever proclaims, "Behold, I make all things complete and new." And so with that, I invite you to take in the wondrous information, words, message, divine grace, and energy that is Reverend Sunshine. And let us begin this wonderful evening of life and fullness and grace.
Thank you. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Revealing Experience.
Thank you, Jan, for that beautiful prayer and those beautiful words. What a great way to start off our evening. And I got to tell you that we got some really special people in the house tonight. So look at your neighbor and say, you're the special one here tonight. Tonight we're going to be honoring one of us in the house. But before we get to that, I have to tell you how joy-filled I am to be with you after having been away for a couple of weeks, and to simply be here and to be present and to be fully yours is simply a joy for me. Our book of the month is the gifts of imperfection, and I know some of you are wondering, wait a minute, Sunshine, last month it was all about, for the last 2 months it's been all about Joel Goldsmith, and we're talking about our perfect self, and we're talking about how God is our very life, that there's only one selfhood, and that is God, and that God is living in, through, and as us. And now this month you're going to tell us that there's imperfection? Kind of, sort of. What I like to think about and how I'd like for us to kind of progress into all of this is that on the road, on our journey to discovering our God self, on this path that we take, or even on the ladder that we take, we may be at different rungs of the ladder. Some of us might say, well, wow, I keep hearing that I'm whole, perfect, and complete, and yet I'm in this human body, and I know for sure that it's imperfect, or I know that my behavior is not the best behavior, or sometimes I'm not so kind and loving and tolerant of others, and sometimes I even get really super angry at people on the freeway. And so it's to that I speak to, and to that Brene Brown speaks to. She's someone who's done a lot of research, and some of us, I've gotten some emails from some of us here in the community talking about, I'm loving this book, and I'm really loving the growth and unfoldment that gets to happen as a result of maybe looking at some of those areas in our lives where we're not so kind and tolerant and loving, where we're not so compassionate to ourselves, where we're not so caring, where we're not making connections, and yet we come to spiritual community week after week, and we're supposed to be these perfect, whole, and complete people that are like super spiritual, kind of floating, so none of you can identify. I get it, right? So in our human experience, we get to live and we get to experience life in all of its fullness. The key is that who's to say that it's not perfect, or who is to say that it is perfect? Yet we can look at some of our behaviors and kind of go, wow, that might have not been the most loving thing to do. Or wow, I could have really done things a little bit differently in that situation. When we can look at ourselves sometimes and go, wow, I haven't been so kind to myself, or maybe I wasn't fully present for a friend who really needed me at a certain time, but I'm all off in my own stuff and can't really fully be present. And in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, we have an opportunity to really take a look at these areas in our lives, especially that selfhood, especially looking at the places where we're not so kind to ourselves. The places where we judge ourselves, the places where we continue to bash ourselves secretly, and sometimes publicly. Oh, I'm so stupid, or that was something dumb to do. Those areas of our life where we kind of, sit on the edge of our bed at night and go, gosh, this was a horrible day. I really didn't show up in my authentic self, in my true self. And what is that? Because so many times, especially when we come to spiritual community and we hear and we see people and we kind of look at them on the outside and then judge ourselves from our insides, and we compare our insides to their outsides, or what we see on Sunday or Wednesday, and we go, wow, I want to be like her. And we don't know that her goes home at night kind of going, right? So how is it that we let go of trying to be who we think we're supposed to be and really show up, as Brené Brown talks about it, wholeheartedly? How is it that we begin to live wholeheartedly, fully being present, fully being there for ourselves, fully speaking our truth? She talks about 3 C's in her book, and over the month we're gonna really read through and kind of go over what she's talking about. But I really wanted to highlight the 3 C's that she talked about today, because even if we take one of the C's and practice it this week for ourselves, it's always a wonderful thing. You know, it's interesting because in 12-step program, there's a prayer. It's called the 3rd step prayer. And some of you may be familiar with it. It's a prayer of offering. It says, God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thy will. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. And I was just thinking, wow, even if we take away the word God and kind of add one of the 3 C's in there, the 3 C's would be compassion, connection, and courage. What if we were to say, courage, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thy will? Wow. What kind of courageous people would we be? You know, in the book, she talks about courage not being something of braverism, not anything having to do with violence and fighting, but indeed that courage has the root word of heart, corazón, del corazón, from the heart, so that I'm able to tell all what is in my heart. What if we were able to live from that place this week, just a little bit more, to be able to in a loving way, really tell people the content of our heart, maybe where we've been hurt, maybe where we feel left out, maybe where we feel this overwhelming love, to talk about the things that we feel or think about, what that might be like. What would that be like for our children who may need that loving space to say, hey, mom, hey, dad, you know, I'm gay. Or, hey, mom, hey, dad, somebody offered me a cigarette today. Or, hey, dear friend, there's something that I need to talk to you about. You know, to really be able to have that courage to simply speak what's in my heart. To offer ourselves to courage. I think about that, and I think about a car wash. I don't know why. But I think about our journey, our spiritual journey, like going through a car wash. In the beginning, we have all this mud and dirt and grease and grime, and as we go through the car wash of courage, let's say, through the transformation and the cleaning away, and it's ugly because that water's dirty. But when we come out on the other side, it's like, all shiny and sparkly. And if courage were to do with us as it will, if it was kind of like going through that car wash of courage, of being able to simply speak, to be able to stand in our truth, whatever that truth is for the moment. But it's interesting because when we do that, we need compassion. We need someone that we can trust, that we can talk to, that comes from that place of compassion. And even having self-compassion. Self-compassion, it's interesting because, again, she uses the Latin word in compassion, having to do with suffering. And compassion is really about being able to identify and be with the suffering. Now, I'm not saying that when your friend comes to you and they're in pain and gnashing of the teeth, that we have to begin that same process too. However, compassion is finding the wholeness in our own suffering, in the places where we've been hurt, in the places where we can identify that wholeness that has come forth from whatever experience that we've had. And that we're able to be there with that person, with that individual, not co-signing their stuff, not saying, oh yeah, that was bad what happened. Or if you're from the Bronx like me, what's their address? Come on, Mimi and Cece and Johnny, we got to go somewhere. But instead, identifying with that place and being an equal, a companion on the road, not a healer, not I've been there, done that, I know what you're going through, you're going to get over it, but finding that place of compassion, finding that place of, I know what this is like, and I can identify with a similar feeling that you're having, and I'm just going with you. I will be here with you. And for us to be able to do that with ourselves, I've been here before. I feel that for myself. So imagine if we were to go through the car wash of compassion, to be able to go through that process. It means that we get to be vulnerable. We get to be really vulnerable. We just get to show up as human beings, not as anybody else. I remember a few weeks ago, somebody said, I like it, Sunshine, that you come down off of the pulpit and that you're with us here in community. And that's what compassion looks like. That's what it looks like. I'm just with you. We're just on this road. We just get to travel together. We just get to be there. I'm not better than or less than. We just get to go this road together. And the last one was connection, the last C, connection. Really having that wholehearted connection that even if I get to say something that you may not totally identify with or agree with, but that you get to hear me and that I get to hear you. And that we get to really be in this love connection where we know that we're fellow travelers on the road. I remember one of my first talks when I came back from Asilomar as Reverend Sunshine. I was in Huntington Beach, and my first talk title was, "Don't Let the Title Fool You." It's not funny. Yes, it is. Right? But and it's so great because we get to accomplish so many things and be called so many different things, whether it's mother or father or daughter or doctor or reverend or practitioner. And when we first get the badge, we hot stuff. Then it'd be like, bling, got the title now, right? In connection, what I'm really talking about is that our first title is God. Hello? Our first title is God. It is who we are already. So don't let the other titles fool you. Don't let him puff you up to a place where it's kind of like you're no earthly good. But that the connection is a genuine connection. That we recognize who we are. Again, in that place of being fellow travelers. So if we imagine ourselves now going through the car wash of connection, where we offer ourselves to connection and allow connection to do with us and to build with us as it will, imagine the connections that we can have with one another as a result of allowing ourselves to really show up as who we are, not who we think we're supposed to be. I remember once upon a time, my main thing was, I got the call. You're going to be a minister. What? Ministers ain't cool. Really? Oh. You sure? And I remember just, it's like, wow, well, do I have to give up my coolness? Like, that was important to me. I remember having a session with a minister kind of going, okay, I think I'm supposed to be going to ministerial school, but, you know, like, I'm cool. Like, what's up? Like, really? All right, Spirit, if I'm going to do this, I got to be a cool minister, because otherwise it's not going to work. And yet, what she's talking about is wholehearted living, and it's really about letting go of who I think I'm supposed to be, cool, and just allowing Spirit to show up in, through, and as me. That I get to show up authentically, that I don't have to have this like super cool persona. I just get to be me. I get to be me on this path, and I get to share this path and this journey with you, God, having this path and this journey. And that we get to have this exchange and this connection, this meeting of the hearts and the minds, but we get to show up authentically. When we're crying and slinging snot, and when we're in our joy, reveling about how good life is. That we get to show up and have these connections, and that we get to show compassion not only for ourselves, but for others who are also traveling our path. And that we get to speak our truth from a place of courage. Here's who I'm showing up as today. And it may not be who you thought was supposed to show up, but here's who's showing up, and here's how I'm showing up. So how is it that as spiritual people and spiritual communities, how is it that we get to embrace these ideas and concepts, knowing that in the absolute, we're perfect. In the absolute, meaning Spirit that is showing up as us is indeed perfect. And yet, in our human experience, or as Brené Brown would call it, in this particular life experience, we may see what is called imperfections. And that these imperfections are really gifts. They're gifts in that we get to practice our true self. We get to practice these qualities that really gets to shine off who we are. So whether we're looking at the glass or the book from different perspectives, whether we think it's perfect or imperfect, we're still talking about the same thing, our very life. And whether I get to practice it because I'm perfect, or I get to practice it because I may think I'm imperfect, and these are the qualities that would help me be a better human being on this planet and help me to be a beneficial presence on this planet, regardless of how we look at it or what we call it, let's look at ways to practice the 3 C's or 1 C. Let's look at how we can incorporate or allow courage or connection or compassion to have its way with us, to transform us, to mold us into what it would have us to be, which is really for us to show up and embrace ourselves as who we really are, not who we think we're supposed to be. So as we begin to enter into our time of silence for a few minutes, let's take that into our meditation. This idea of which one of these 3 C's most resonates with me. And as you clear your laps, and just simply allow your body to relax a little bit more. And if you're comfortable, simply allow your eyes to gently close. Which one of these resonates the most with you? Which one of these are you simply going to turn yourself over to? Courage, speaking of the heart, speaking your heart, telling what's in your heart. Whether it be compassion, identifying maybe with the suffering of others and simply being with them or being with yourself on the journey. or whether it be connection. Simply tapping into that oneness. Seeing the value in others and having others see that value in you. That simple sharing of the heart. That sharing of our authentic self. And letting go and letting that idea of what we think we're supposed to be or how we think we're supposed to show up, just letting that go and just showing up. So whichever one you identify with, simply see yourself engaging in that, fully being with it. And see what your heart tells you. Listen with that inner ear. See with that inner eye to what your heart has to say for you this week as we allow ourselves to enjoy the gifts of imperfection. how good it is to dwell in the silence, to allow that highest God and that innermost God to speak to us in a language that we understand, to allow ourselves to be open and receptive to the grand download and that broadcast that is always available. How grateful I am for this time which we have dedicated to knowing our life as the life that God is. I'm grateful for all that has led to this moment, the gift of this moment, and grateful for all that unfolds from this moment forward as we remember that our life is indeed that life that God is. So from this place of gratitude and thanksgiving, I simply give thanks. Thanks for what has been shared through song, through reading, through prayer. And thanks for all that is being given. Given and receiving. We give thanks. And together we say, and so it is. So I can't wait to hear what came to you in meditation, what you get to share this week. But before we do sharing, it's our conscious giving time where we get to give of that which we've brought to this spiritual community to share. So I'd like to invite the ushers forward at this time. And also invite you to take whatever gifts you have brought to share with this spiritual community. And from that place of gratitude, think of something that you're grateful for in your life. And the invitation is to give from that place of thanksgiving, not from the place of, ooh, it's time to give, I got to put something in the basket. But from that place of, wow, I get to give. Wow, I'm grateful for this, so I get to give. So it's from that place of thanksgiving that we simply give what we've brought to share, and that we simply bless our gifts, our tithes, our offerings, knowing that they go forth in this spiritual community and keep this word available to those that will come far beyond our time here. So it's from that place in which we give. So ushers, go forth and multiply. And as you give, you get to receive. So please open your hearts and receive the wonderful, beautiful, inspiring music from Christina Veronica. Thank you so much.
Woke up one morning with the same old thoughts, feeling kinda worried, just the same old stuff. But then I saw the sunshine and I heard the rain just outside my window. A rainbow came my way, and the beauty that I saw outside that day not be the same beauty I have with it. Walked out my doorstep with the same old thoughts, feeling kinda lonely, just the same old stuff. But then I saw a baby with her smiling eyes. I felt the magic and the loveliness of life, and the beauty that I saw outside that day. Oh, it rushed through me and it took my breath away. How can something as beautiful as this not be the same beauty I have with it? Later that evening there came the same old thought, but I changed my thinking. It's not the same old stuff, 'cause I remembered all the beauty that I saw. It's all around me if I only change my thoughts. Yeah, and the beauty that I saw outside that day, it rushed through me and it took away my pain. So tell me, how can something as beautiful as this not be the same beauty I have with it? Yeah, 'cause the beauty that I saw outside that day, it rushed through me and it took away my pain. So tell me, how can something as beautiful as this not be the same beauty I have with it? And I know it is. Yes, it is. It's the same beauty I have with it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Let's give it another hand to Christina Veronica.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. So like I said, we're going to be honoring someone really special today. So without further ado, I'd love to call up to the stage Callie Sorensen, and she's going to let us know who we're honoring today. Thank you, love. Oh, how precious.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, it's a great honor to be with you tonight on Wednesday night. And we're kind of celebrating two of the C's, compassion and connection. The Gandhi King Season for Nonviolence is a 64-day campaign aimed at creating awareness of nonviolent principles and practices as a powerful way to heal, transform, and empower our lives and our communities. It was inspired by the 50th and 30th memorial anniversaries of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Barbara Fields and Arun Gandhi founded the Season for Nonviolence in 1998. And for each of the 16 years, this initiative has been launched at the United Nations by notable spiritual and social visionaries. Last year, Seaside marked the beginning of the Season for Nonviolence by presenting the co-founder of the Season for Nonviolence, Dr. Barbara Fields, with our first annual Barbara Fields Peace Award, created in her honor. The purpose is to recognize and work with efforts of an individual who is dedicated to bringing awareness to nonviolent practices and principles and compassion. In honor of also International Women's Day this year, Seaside Center and the Seaside Sisters Women's Ministry participates in the 16th Season for Nonviolence and acknowledges International Women's Day, observed annually on March 8th, which is tomorrow, by honoring a woman whose significant contributions to the process of peace and nonviolence has been unwavering. My friend, Dr. Reverend Kathy Hearn, has been committed steadily to raising consciousness of people throughout the world. In her 10-year role of community spiritual leader of United Centers for Spiritual Leading, she played an important role in the recent integration of the Religious Science International and United Centers for Spiritual Living, a process that took 10 years. She traveled to Russia, Ukraine, Mexico, United Kingdom, Canada, Switzerland to share Science of Mind and the Global Heart Vision. As an active member of the Leadership for Council for the Association for Global New Thought, she attended the Synthesis Dialogue with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, presented at the Parliament of World Religions in Barcelona, Spain, and the Parliament in Melbourne, Australia. The woman has been an international traveler, all in the name of peace and compassion. She's traveled to the Middle East as a sole female religious leader for the Harvard Abraham Path Initiative, led an Abraham Path trip to Turkey and Syria, and attended the AG&T Awaken World Conference in Rome and Florence very recently. Miss Dr. Reverend Kathy Hearn, will you please come up here? So this year, we award Barbara Fields Peace Award to Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn for her conviction that peace in thought, word, and deed can make an impact on the world. And so on behalf of the Seaside Sister Women's Ministry and all of us here at Seaside, it is my great honor to recognize this wonderful woman.
Thank you for standing. Please be seated. I am, first of all, I want to thank Reverend Sunshine for giving time for this and this wonderful service. I've been wanting to come to Wednesday service, so this was a great way to do it. And thank you, my dear sister friend Callie, for this award, and Joanne, who we just saw each other again tonight. Thank you so much. It means very much. Barbara Fields is a dear friend of mine, and I'm amazed to be given this award that is in her name, because she has done so much more than I have done for the activities of peace in the world. She is quite an astounding woman. And yet it occurs to me that we all feel that way, that somebody else is doing more, that somebody else is doing more. I was helping my daughter today clean out her apartment because she's moving. And I was, as moms do, I was cleaning the refrigerator. And on her refrigerator, there was a sticker that I had given her that I had forgotten about, and it said, "Any fool can start a war. Peace takes leadership." Good, huh? Any fool can start a war. Peace takes leadership. And so it occurs to me that as we each do the deep inner work of peace within ourselves, setting ourselves free from the war within, as we do the work of peace in our relationships, as we extend love and the compassion and the connection that Reverend Sunshine talked about tonight, as we have the courage to do that, as we offer forgiveness, the lilies of forgiveness instead of the crown of thorns, as we do the work of peace in our greater communities, we lead. And it's a beautiful thing, and I know that you're all doing it, so let's just keep going. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Congratulations. You know, when it happens for one, it happens for all. So as she's being honored, we also just tap into that place within us as well that knows that we're valued and loved and respected in such a big way. We still have a few minutes, and this is our time in community where the community gets to speak, whether it's that you want to share what came through the meditation, whether it was something in the reading that moved you, whether it was something in the music, the beautiful music that has moved you, or whether you just want to share an aha from today's talk or something that has grown for you from this last week to this week or from over the few months that we've been together in community. Who shall receive the microphone? Hello, beloved.
Hello. Your sermon today was perfect, and talking about bringing it down to the real level, all of those, compassion, courage, and connection, when we allow ourselves to just step out of ourselves and be ourselves. The other week, I was out with some friends. Actually, I was on a date. Did not go very well. But I was sitting there, and there were some people across from me, and they were having a great time. There was 3 of them. So my date left, and I just asked them, hey, can I hang out with you all? You look like you're having a lot of fun. And they said yes. So we had a great evening, got their cards. The next day, I sat at my computer, and I sent an email to 2 of them. Just said, hey, it was really great to meet you. I would really like to hang out with you and get to know you better because you seem like somebody I could be friends with. And I felt really silly doing it. Making friends, I think, as you get older, almost feels like you're asking everyone on a date. And then nothing for a week. And so I started doing the compassion with myself. I'm like, no, it's okay. I really like them. It was okay to say that, and it might have seemed weird to them. That's fine. Nothing to do with me. I said my truth. A week goes by, both emails. Oh my gosh, I was out of town. I would love to hang out with you. Yeah, we had such a great time. And I've had 3 dates with one of them, so my life is changing around and made new friends. So just by taking that courageous step, and it isn't that big of a deal, but it felt huge. Mm-hmm. How often do we pass up those opportunities because we're afraid we'll look silly or how the other person will react when it has nothing to do with that?
Exactly.
You say your truth and it all works out.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that. And tell the community your name so we can get to know you a little bit better.
I'm Linda. Yes, I'm Linda.
Linda. All right, perfect. Thank you, Linda. And that's exactly what it takes, is just, being that true to yourself, taking the courage to just kind of say, here's what's on my heart. Y'all look like y'all having a good time. Can I hang? Can I play? Yeah, sure. You're welcomed here. Okay, one more. I knew it. I knew it. And if we have time, I'm coming to the back just to be with you.
Thank you. So my name's Kathy. And in the meditation, I was saying, God is love, I am love. God is great, I am great. God is intelligence, I am intelligence. And when I got to gratitude, it flipped. And I said, I have gratitude, I am gratitude, I'm so thankful. Therefore, God has gratitude and is thankful for me. So, and for all of us, obviously, for us, because we're all one anyway. But I just thought that was, I know everybody knows that, but it just felt so good to switch it up and like, God, is grateful for us, because that's all there is. We are God.
Exactly.
There you go.
Thank you. We make a difference on this planet, and that gratitude is a wonderful place to be in and to live from, and to know that gratitude is what rules us and what makes the world go round is beautiful. So I'm grateful for you. Thank you. Yeah, we got time for you in the back, so I love you.
I love you. I just wanted to say that I really loved tonight's service, and I know the third step prayer very well. It's something that I try and live with. I also wanted to say that I like to keep things simple in life. And a couple of the things that run through my mind most often are life is what it is. Mm-hmm. And I need to be accepting of that. And also I love the little phraseology that lives in my head that says, I am, we are perfectly imperfect.
That rounds it up really well.
So it fit really with what you were talking about tonight, so I figured I better be courageous and say it.
Good deal. Thank you. It's great connecting with you. So, how wonderful it is that we have had a time in community to not only hear from our musicians and our practitioners and the Rev, and to honor Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn, but also to hear from God as the community. So thank you so much for those of you who shared tonight, and thank you for those of you who took the position of listening and being that place of, yes, I hear you, I see you, and you have value because you are God right where you are. So we all have a role to play, and how wonderful it is that we get to do that in community and that we get to grow and unfold in such a beautiful way. So I want to thank everybody who's been a great part of this team tonight. Want to make sure that I thank our practitioners tonight. Representing our practitioner field on the pulpit was Jan Hartman, and tonight we have Kay, who's been holding vigil, holding the light. The practitioners will be available to you for prayer, whether it's a gratitude prayer, whether there's something on your heart and mind that you'd like some resolution for. Please see our practitioners. They're going to be in our chapel right out this door. If you choose to leave out of that door and you're not going to stop in for prayer, please do so quietly so as not to interrupt prayer. Not that prayer could ever really be interrupted, but just so the person hearing the prayer could actually hear the prayer. And the invitation is to really join us in the family room. We have some goodies and snacks. Dr. Kathy Hearn is going to be out there. I'll be out there, so you can welcome her and congratulate her, and we can talk. Want to give up to our audio team, our music team, and for those of you who are live streaming tonight, thank you so much for being with us. And give a big hand to our live streaming team, because we get to stream live every Wednesday night now, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So how great it is. Congratulations again, Dr. Kathy Hearn. What a great opportunity it is to celebrate you. Ginny, can't do it without you, our logistics manager. And so the invitation is to stand. We're going to do our closing prayer. And our closing prayer is a song, because what I know is that a prayer sung is really a prayer prayed twice, so it's twice as powerful.
Are we ready?
This is
our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see, with open hearts and open hands. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift In love we stand. We lift our voices. In love we stand.
See you in the family room. Come out there with your CDs.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. We are making a new world now. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. We are making a new world